Tuoro. We're going live with Tuoro. Yo, half awake, yawning. That's how I feel today, to be real. Yes, yes. Let's get in it. Hey, hey. He's in the building. In time, but in the meantime. Hey, hey. Yes, Nas. Long time. How you been?
Yeah.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yo.
The man himself.
What's up? Yo, I heard you bumping the song.
Yeah, it had to be done. This is the introduction.
Yeah, man, definitely. Best way to start.
Yeah. Hey, so for the guys tuned in or the guys tuning in, this remix you hear is done by the man that you hear, the man that you see, and the man that you're going to be hearing rapping very shortly. Right now it's May season, obviously, but Tuoro is on the third verse. Hey. So yeah, that's the introduction right there. Yeah, peoples, welcome to IndiVisual. I don't know what number I'm on now. I think this is 07. I don't know how long I'm gonna keep these up for, to be real. I'm at a time in life where I'm just like, you know what, I want to hibernate and learn how to produce. I don't know about keeping up with social media appearances, but anyway, while we're here, Tone, we've known for since Day to Day was what? How many years ago was this?
I think that was 2016, perhaps. 2016 or 2000.
Yeah, man. So I would do the introduction, but I know he'll do it even better. So over to you, bro.
Yo, what's up, people? Thanks, Rick, for inviting me on your podcast, on your IG Live. How do you even call this, actually?
I don't even know. You know what? I wanted it to be a podcast, but just because I'm trying to be low-key and not have mad equipment, I was like, let me do the IG Live first. But yeah, we can call it a podcast.
Let's call it a podcast. Well, thank you for inviting me, man.
All good,
you know, we've known each other for a while now. We've bounced songs back and forth and ideas back and forth. I love, you know, talking to you about music, and I think it was just right to do this. So for the people that are joining from my side, I'll introduce you as well. This is the man, Rick Flo from Jungle Brown, solo artist, but also in the group. Actually, I found out about you through Jungle Brown because I was working for a hip-hop blog called blackouthiphop.com, where I would follow Croatian hip-hop, regional hip-hop, so Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro, you know, countries surrounding Croatia, ex-Yugoslavia, they live, and UK and US hip-hop, world hip-hop. So I got a press release for your first vinyl. I think it was Flight 387. Did I get the numbers right?
314, yeah.
Right, so, yeah. And I listened to that, and I was like, man, these guys are so dope. So I posted it on the blog, and I immediately went to search for all you guys individually. And for some reason, I don't know, the search engine just gave me you. So I was like, yo, I gotta holler at these guys and see if we can do something together. See if I can make a remix or something. Because I thought the way that I would get my foot in the door was like, yo, let me show you my skills. Let me see. Let me show you what I can do. Send me an acapella.
Yeah, man.
So that's how the remix came about.
Hold up. Who did the press pack come from? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't remember, but it came to the blackouthiphop.com email address. So it didn't come to me directly. It came to the blog's email address. So whoever was sending it out was sending it out to a lot of blogs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who done that, but that's dope. Back when we used to like go to blogs first. How do you do your promo now, actually? On a.
It's a good question, bro. Like I've been so lazy when it comes to promo recently. I just focus on the music side of things. And, And I you know, I kind of organically share it to my friends and send it through. But honestly, I think the best way to promo nowadays is really just through growing your own audience through social media and stuff like that. Really, it's better to have an organic 100 people than fake 1,000 people. So Really, what I try and do, what I put some out, is I really try and get it to the people that follow me first, and trying to get them involved. If they're, clinging on to it, if they like it, then I can know I can put some money into it. Just social media promo. Then I try sending it out, just some blogs, magazines, stuff like that. Try and get as much content as you can for that rollout of the project.
Yeah, and the kind of on the distro side of things, you're telling me a while ago, like Spotify and whatnot. Is that obviously it's over there in Croatia? But your profile, because I'm just looking at your profile, I'm just like, I know you got so much more music. So what's all that about? Tell me that side of things.
Well, yeah, I mean, Spotify just came to Croatia a year ago, so it's a very recent thing. Oh, yeah, it's very recent.
So
we only had
how do people usually consume music then?
For free.
Just YouTube.
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, I think it's just a Croatian thing. People don't like to pay for shit.
Oh,
because people don't make much money here. So I mean, it's not a diss. That's just a fact. So
yeah,
people just want music for free, and you'll get the best visibility if you put it out for free as well.
But most people,
money is a great deal.
I remember your profile was quite big on SoundCloud. So like,
yeah.
So I guess it's just like, promoting through, back then there'll be like SoundCloud and just YouTube.
Dude, like back then, and like I would say the early 2010s, I would put some shit out randomly. I wouldn't even touch it. That shit would just organically grow. People were just so, people were just so interconnected, and there was no algorithms, or it came like people could immediately see your shit and click on it and be like, oh, I like it. Let's follow this guy.
Yeah.
Remember when we pushed it out on YouTube in like 2013? That shit would have like 5,000 views in a day, and like exposed to new people and shit like that. So it's like, I don't know what happened in the course of these years, but everything kind of got algorithmed and separated, and it's very hard to reach a audience organically without actually putting some real money into it.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah, no, it's not necessarily that it's saturated now, but yeah, the organic reach is not like it used to be for all platforms.
Because allow all the pain and blah blah blah, get new audience. Look at you and me. We both have about 1,000 followers on Instagram or more. I don't know, but in the thousands. I have in the thousands on Facebook as well. On my Facebook page, I think almost 3,000. So it's like, I just want to reach those people that really actually came from the shit. So why are you not letting me communicate with my audience?
Yeah.
Why do I have to pay for that as well if those people came there organically?
No,
so that's kind of what I find unfair recently. But other than that,
I think I've read something about they only show it to like 5% or 10% of your people basically, and then based on that, it depends on how many of that 10% like it, that they'll show it to more people. But otherwise, it's like you're only gonna get 10% or less. So
exactly. Yeah. And I don't want to be going to people like, oh, please, like my shit, blah 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 blah. If you like it organically, you will like it organically. But the game is set up in a way that you have to pay to win.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what it is right now. I think at the end of the day, talent beats everything, and hard work beats everything as well. So
and as you were saying, you just got to focus on the audience that you got there. Like even in the sense of like hearing that theory about all you need is 1,000 loyal fans to like buy into the merch, buy into the music, XYZ, and you can live off that. But I mean, I think that theory was including live shows, which is another story.
But that's a whole nother story, and that's why COVID actually came in a pretty hard time, because for me, I put out 2 projects, and I had 2 projects in the works. And for me, putting out projects, the best thing is performing it live.
Yeah.
I performed at a lot of venues in Croatia. A lot of people know me because I've been acting for a long time. So I know that at least with every project, I get 10 gigs for sure. And then people see me there, and I get another 5 invites somewhere. Whether doing, a warm up for something famous, or whether it's just doing small venues, it's still income. It still pays for your music video. It still pays for the merch or whatever you want to do. So it's like, that's something that I really counted on, and then COVID hit. So here we are. gotta push through.
Yeah, nah, COVID's been a mad one for for us as well. I mean, for everyone obviously, but with Jungle Brown, we might have even been able to see you or going on our first going on our first European tour. It was kind of starting, so like we went to Romania earlier last year, then we went to Ukraine as COVID was starting. Because to be honest, if we stayed in Ukraine 2 days longer, we would have been there for quite a while. And then we're just patterning and sorting out other places that we're going to go in Europe. But yeah, that was over with. So yeah, it's been difficult, especially for like obviously a band of our size, like because that's as you were saying, that's where like the money that we were getting from merch and whatnot was coming from the shows, and we'll reinvest. But at the same time, like we've been doing our thing for a while, so COVID was a time just to reflect and be like, hey, like we've been wanting to focus on solo work, so let's just actually give the solo works our full focus, and we'll come back to the drawing board when the time's right.
I've been checking out your stuff as well. It's like all three of you are doing quite different things, like sound-wise.
Yeah, definitely. It's you know what? That's the thing. It's been like that from the get-go. But as I told you behind the scenes, like Jungle Brown was working, right? So it's just like, oh, okay, let's just keep on going with where this is going. And it was starting to amalgamate into all of our tastes. But yeah, at the same time, just because of just literally time of like the amount of work you need to put into, as you were saying, like music videos, the artwork, prepping for the show, social media, it's like, all right, try and do these things simultaneously, but it just can't work. And especially the pressures that came from, it's debatable if there's pressures from the label, but us putting pressure on ourselves to really make sure, okay, there's a label involved now. We need to make sure this is as banging as possible, and we put the max amount of effort. So, you know, all of that. But then even before COVID, the label kind of, let's just say, wasn't really saying too much. So that was segueing into, you know what, let's just focus on our solo stuff. And the label want to talk. We're here, you know, if anyone tunes in from the label, you know who you are. We're here, innit? But otherwise, we're just focusing on what we got to do. But anyway, what was I going to say? So yeah, guys, if you didn't hear at the start, Tone did a remix to Day to Day, which you can hear on Spotify, and you can hear. We haven't actually linked up your profile on this, have we? Hold up, let's see. Nah, hasn't been linked up. But anyway, it's Tuoro. You can find him on Spotify and all that jazz. And he done a remix for Jungle Brown. We've got a few other tunes that were laid ideas in the works that you might hear in the near future. Let's see. But yeah, actually, what I was gonna say, you performed at Outlook, right? Quite a few times.
Yeah, actually a few times, because I was emceeing for drum and bass DJs actually.
Man,
that's how I got my foot in the game actually. Like a lot of DJs don't have MCs here. MCing is not even a thing here, so it's like I was one of the first people out here to do it on a serious level. And the fact that I speak English the way that I do, a lot of local DJs who are getting the big gigs in the festivals, they were like, oh shit, we have an MC right here, like let's invite him, let's get him on stage. And I was young, wild, and free, so I did it. I how to do it.
The crowds, like how large was the crowd that you're performing in front of at Outlook?
Well, at Outlook, it was at two different occasions. One was like in front of 12 people, and one was like in front of 300 people.
300 people. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because I went to Outlook, can't remember what year it was, 2012, 2013. I went the year that Busta Rhymes was supposed to come. But
he couldn't come, and then they got Action Bronson.
Yeah, they got Action Bronson, and I didn't know Action Bronson too at the time. So when I saw him like get a fan into a headlock, just like strangling them, I was just like, "Is this for real?"
This guy's wild.
That's actually his thing, isn't it? I didn't actually know. I guess the fan was like ready for the action, but I was just looking, just thinking he's a dickhead. But Yeah, that I
Yeah,
did. Yeah,
no, but that's just his thing. And he, you know, man,
yeah,
he's the
yeah, yeah.
fucking
That's
shit.
his style. That's his signature thing. So was you performing at that one?
And I was performing there 2013 and 2015, so I'm not sure if that was the one.
Yeah,
2015 might have been. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Seen and all right, guys. For people that tune in, if you got any questions, just put them at the bottom. I'm gonna give you a wave as well, because even though the people that came in, sorry I didn't wave at you. Basically, when I did a live with Tony, Tony was like, "Oh, you don't engage with the people in the live enough. You got to engage with the people in the live." I'm like, "All right, man. All right, cool." So
You
I'm
might be
trying to be
right. You
attentive to
might
that.
have to do that. You might have to turn this into a Q&A with the people.
Yeah. Um, but music production and just music in general. How long have you been like production rapping? How long have you been doing it for?
I would say 10 years now. Yeah, definitely. I started in 2011, pretty late at the age of like 19.
See.
You know, I always wanted to do it, but I never thought I'd be good at it, or I was just too embarrassed to show people. So I finally, like, I started college and I was just like bored and I started writing shit, started producing shit on Fruity Loops and this type of shit. Started meeting people who like the same things, and then we just bounce ideas off of each other. And all of a sudden, you're doing open mics and freestyles and anywhere you can get your foot in, just to be rapping, just to be
Okay, at 19, sick. Yeah, I thought it would be like younger, but at the same time, you're telling me there's not much of a like a hip hop scene in Croatia. Tell me more about that.
well, I would say there is in the capital, but anywhere else, not really. And it's a very small circle of people, so it's like it's not like right
Where
now
are you
hip hop
based?
is
You're
the
not.
biggest.
Are you based in the capital? No.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay.
But like right now, it's the biggest genre in the country. Just like anywhere else in the world, hip hop took over.
Yeah.
But back then, it was like a very niche thing. You know, people were dressing baggy, and people would look at you like, "What the hell? Who are you?" You
Yeah.
know. Basically, what we would also do, me and one of my friends, we would go to like jazz bars, shit like that, where people are open minded and they're playing jazz. And I would go on the mic and be like, "Yo, play this." Like a rhythm I can rap to, and they'll just be like, "Fuck it, all right, we don't give a shit." And then just start playing a hip hop beat, and we just start freestyling. And everyone was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Because that wasn't really a thing. That wasn't really big. So back then, it was not easy to even get your foot in the game, and like you'd have to know some people to get on the radio. It was all very closed, very small community. And now I would say, if you're a young artist, you can easily get a big crowd if you put out a good bop.
Yeah. No, dope. So you started producing
Shout
on
out
your
Smooth Deep.
yeah. Shout out to your boy as well, Smooth Deep.
Yeah, man. Smooth Deep. Old bro from the UK. He's from Edmonton. And he was one of the first dudes to be coming to Croatia just to like kick it in the Balkans. So he would like, make songs with MCs out here. And I actually recorded, I think, one of my first songs with him. I was dead terrible, but he still hopped on a song with me because he was like, "Hey, come here, youngin, let's make a song." So
Nah, he said he definitely had it from the jump. So yeah, man, big up to Smooth Deep.
yeah, man, definitely big up. Good times.
Nah, dope. What was I gonna say as well? So like, all right, so the scene's building. I mean, what trying to think. I've lost the question now about the scene.
I know.
I've actually lost the question about the scene now. So you're producing on Fruity Loops at first.
Yeah, definitely.
What
I
do you
mean, that was the
produce on
only.
now?
Right now, Logic. But yeah, I started with Fruity Loops because it was either that or Reason or Cubase.
Yeah, yeah.
Cubase was always too weird. Reason was too complicated. So Fruity Loops was actually like whatever anyone could get. And I think for that reason, because it was just so easy to crack and so easy to start using, it became the biggest like
Yeah, for
DAW
sure. On
now.
PC. Was you on a PC back then?
Yeah, on a PC. That's right.
Yeah, because yeah, Fruity Loops on a Mac was a myth back then. So
Definitely. I
I
mean,
think
I
if you
think
had a
it
Mac, maybe GarageBand, but then that's that. Like, yeah, it wasn't intuitive. It wasn't intuitive, and it wasn't the wave.
definitely. But now I use Logic. I switched to Mac in 2014, and since I've been using Logic, and it's just the cleanest way for me to make music. It's just very, very easy to use. And, I like plugins, the stock plugins as well. And just recording other artists in Logic. I learned that through another friend in Logic. So it was definitely the best job for me to get serious with.
I'm curious on your on how like on your production style in Logic, because to be honest, I've literally got into production recently, right? So I've got have you heard of MPC Beats?
Yeah, of course.
So like I'm using that software with this like MIDI controller thing. But in Logic, I don't know when it comes to like programming drums. Like I've played with the drum machine in it, but it just doesn't feel that intuitive.
It's not. It sucks. But here's what it is, man. In Logic for me, and probably like the harder way to do things, but it's the way that I learned to do it. Basically, you take every single sound and you drop it in there, and you make it from scratch. So.
Okay.
So basically, every kick you start with I would say I always start with either a sample or like a kick and a snare that I like, and I build it around that. Just copy paste every single snare, every single kick. You move it around the way you try to do it, and then you try to integrate samples within it that give it an extra groove or something. But I never ever use like a synthesizer for the drums. I always build them from scratch or try to sample it. Like
because I know there's a drum machine in there. Or when I don't know, when I went on a tutorial a while ago and they're saying how to like sequence drums, it told me a particular, you probably know, EX something. I can't remember what it's called.
EXS.
Yeah, so you don't use that. You just put it straight onto like the audio timeline, whatever it's called.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I usually, when it comes to EXS, I use it to sample shit. So what I would do, man, I would just sample the fuck out of shit and trying to paste it all together. But yeah, when you're trying to get the the trappy hi-hats and this type of stuff, you need to do it in MIDI because just draw it out and manipulate it in a better way than if you were to just copy paste every single little rattly hi-hat in there. So that's a hard.
Nah,
but when it comes to stuff like that,
you'll have to show me a process one day, because yeah, I'm curious how you done day to day in Logic.
Yeah,
but
I can tell you.
Huh?
I can tell you, it's very easy.
All right, go on then.
So I took your acapella, and I was going through music that I thought would fit your cadence the best. So I had like 10 to 15 samples that I had ready, that I had chopped up earlier, that I was listening to, like, would it fit? And I found this sample. It's from a symphonic orchestra from Belgrade. It's an ex-Yugoslavian Serbian sample.
Sick. I love that.
Yeah, so I wanted to give it like a touch from my area.
Yeah, no.
So I found that, and the horns, and they fit the jazzy horns. They was like, it just fit the mood of the song. So when I had that and I placed it under your vocals, I kind of worked it a little bit just to fit, and then I divided it. One part is the main sample, and then I divided one into the bass as well. So then I made the bass sound, heavy as well.
Yeah.
And then I found the snare that I want to hear to it. All right, my head's already doing this. Just to the snare and to the sample. Then I put kicks on it, and I put very simple kicks onto it, just so I know I have the rhythm. And then a few hats, and then I started adding more kicks, and then a few more hats, and then it was. That's pretty much
do you layer the kicks?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, because a few people have told me this, obviously I'm just a novice in the game, but like, yeah, any advice you got to give me about production, and I'm all ears.
Yeah, man. So
kicks, if there's any other tips.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So when it comes to layering, what I would start with always when you're looking for a sound is you want to have your main sound. So I hear a snare that I really like, and I know that's the snare that's going to carry the song. But there might be some under it that is either missing a little bit of punch. So I would layer it with a deeper snare that I would then match with that one. So it just has a bit more oomph to it, if that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
If I need a little bit more twist on top, I would add like a little clap or like a snap or like a higher snare just to complement the top, so it's crunchy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I would always have like the main sound, the one that's dominant in its cadence, and then I would try and fill it in with like something that would complement it, but not take it over. So there would always be a main one, and then layers added to it for extra effect. Whether it's you want it to hit harder or you want it to snap louder. When it comes to kicks, a lot of times kicks are very all over the place. Now, I don't like it usually. Sometimes I want the kick just to be a bit higher up. So then I remove what's under that and I put a new like sub kick under that that would fit the beat better so it doesn't fight the other frequencies. So you kind of have to look at, I would always have the EQ open, and I would always also look at what frequencies are too dominant in something. And then I try to either remove that or complement something that I feel is missing.
Yeah, when I've got like a little collection of beats that I think you know, I'll have to get your critique and what I've got to do on the engineering side, because yeah, I've dabbled, but that's where I'm at now, innit? That's like I'm just focusing on that, because to be honest, at the start of lockdown, I was getting a little bit into production, but then to be honest, I just went into my comfort zone and just like, oh fuck this, like I'm just gonna write and rap, because it was too much of a learning curve, so I just went into comfort zone. Whereas yeah, after doing like 2 projects in lockdown, I'm just like I don't need to say anything else too soon. I want to focus on the sound and like creating a sound and seeing what is my sound. Because I've always had ideas about stuff, and I've even got like a playlist on my Spotify of samples and what I want to sample. But it's actually just getting around to doing it and see where the creativity takes me. So yeah, that's where I'm at now with creative juices for music.
The only thing I'd like to add is that practice makes perfect. Unfortunately,
Huh?
you know, practice makes perfect. You just have to keep on. But one thing that really
how many years did you think it took you to get good at production?
To get a sound that I like?
Yeah,
I'd say 5 years.
5 years. Jeez. Yeah,
You know?
someone told me,
I know
it's gonna take you about 10 years. I was like, all right, cool.
Honestly, so I've been active in music for 10 years. I'd say the first 4 years were total shit. And then the next few years I was starting to make sense. And then just recently I feel like Heat, my last album, is the first album or project that I made that I can say, yeah, I'm happy with that. That's good. That sounds good. It has a story. It has a sound. It has my way of production.
Yeah.
I said what I wanted to say, and I'm mature now. You know, like I can go anywhere in the world, play my song, and be proud of it. So it took me 10 years to do that.
10 years. See.
A lot of people do that.
And that's what I've got to stomach in the sense of my patience, because I'm just like, nah, I want it to take like 6 months. But yeah, it's a journey, and I just got to be patient with it.
It is, but there's always I mean, you can always just do. I always tell people as well when they get into production, it's all about doing really simple things really well. Yeah. So when you learn how to chop a sample the way you like, do that a few more times, and you'll get into it. You like a certain sound, try and do it a few more times, you'll get into it. But keep it really simple. Don't think about the arrangement. Don't think about.
I'm not at that place yet. Like even in the way MPC beats work, like how I've just learned about different drum patterns. Like basically, I was trying to do a drum pattern a day. It's like, all right, cool. I like this Mick Jenkins song. I like this Sabbath song. I like this Pete Rock song. Let me just learn the drums, and I'll just literally just do a 4 to 8 bar loop just to get get the feel of the pattern. So I haven't taken it into Logic yet in regards to making the sequence and the arrangement. I just want to focus on just getting a feel for the drum pattern.
That's a good way of learning with anything. Like when it came to writing my first bars, the first thing I did to learn writing bars, I wrote down, put it on by Big L on a piece of paper. And I would leave spaces between every bar. And then I would fill in the spaces. So basically, put it on would start like, I can't remember right now, but like I would leave a line empty under it, and I would fill in my own words in the same rhythm of the words that Big L is saying. So if he's saying, I don't know, you can't kill me, I was born dead, I would say in my own words.
Yeah. So it has the
So
same
that's
feeling.
how I learned to make drums as well.
Yeah.
You listen to the hi-hat, you try to imitate where it is exactly on the grid.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Now, without, yeah, intuitively, I've done that on a few songs. Well, that was basically when I was, although I've always looked at lyrics, whether it's like Tupac or Nas's lyrics, and especially with Nas, I remember when I first heard Nas's um, and yeah, the way he starts it, like freedom of jail, clips inserted, a baby being born, same time a man has murdered the beginning and end. I remember just like looking at it, I was just like, I want to create a cinematic scene just like that. So I just had to have the lyrics in front of me, just so even actually full time, although it wasn't, I can't remember the exact process of how I did the start of full time, but it was literally thinking of that lyric. So it's like, so yeah, I said the Nas one. So mine was, a star is born every second at the same time the beggar prays for life lessons. The only difference is the question. But that was me trying to like pay homage
Flip
to like
it.
Nas's like and like trying to do that cinematic kind of all right, two sides of the perspective of the same, yeah, same edit, the same life. So yeah, bro, like I get that. But even when so when I started A Boy Called Rick, my album, I was trying to make an album within like 9 months, and at the time I didn't really know if I could be productive enough to do it within that time. But I said, all right, I got a schedule. So it's like, even though I'm working full time, I'm gonna write every evening, every other day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, going to the studio on the Sunday. And I remember some of them days I just wasn't feeling it. I was just fatigued from work, right? And I remember I listened to one song. It was from Sampha. Um,
Great.
when he was part of Subtract, and I really liked how he was telling a story on it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna literally take kind of. I remember at the time I almost like even jacked some of his bars, but then switched it so it was like my story. But no one would ever know because obviously Sampha sings. I'm not singing, but I just made sure that was kind of like my template, and then I weaved it into my own. But which I had to do
Absolutely.
because I was trying to do it on a regular basis. I was just like I have to try and sign out, but I actually made the project. But yeah, bro, you need to do that sometimes.
Absolutely. Not only do you need to do that, but that's how some really good things come about. I mean, it's not plagiarizing or stealing or anything. It's literally being inspired by
Yeah,
another
yeah.
artist, taking that into your own context. And that's how art pretty much is about. Like everything is a remix. Look at it.
Everything is a remix. There's even a documentary, a 4-part documentary, just going into like everything that we think is genius, and they're just showing you like how like Star Wars is based on this, or these 3, 4 films before it, or like putting
With
scene
the
for
Quentin
scene Kill
Tarantino.
Bill against other films that Quentin Tarantino was inspired by.
It's
Going
basically
into
sampling
the
other
Mac
movies.
story, like going it like everything, literally, and it was like it's quite mind blowing. Everything's a remix. Type that into Google, you'll see the 3-part documentary.
And it's for free on YouTube. I think everything is a
Oh,
remix.
you've seen
And
it?
basically, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and I was just about to mention the Kill Bill reference because it's literally like he made the whole movie by sampling other movies and putting a new context to it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
literally like sampling movies and making your own movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Now, because I remember what around that time, when I was working full time, I went from, I guess, being at uni and having like I don't know 2, 3 weeks to do an idea, a project, to like 2, 3 days when I was full time as a professional as a. So guys, behind the scenes, I do animation, um, and I just remember I got like, I guess you could say like, yeah, creative block. I was like, I was feeling stressed because I was like, how can I churn out something that I was doing for 2, 3 weeks at uni to like 2, 3 days? And actually, there's a book that I got called The War of Art,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it basically talks about how basically we put barriers on ourselves, we put resistance on ourselves, but if we just let go of that resistance, like if I let go of the idea of at uni I used to do like I don't know have 30 ideas and then I'll pick one rather than just be happy with all right cool I've got an idea or I've got a couple ideas and just go for it, then I'll be fine. But it's the fact that I put this expectation, um which has become my barrier. Or even like, let's say I write a song, it's like, oh, that song was sick. And then I'm like, oh, I need to write as good as that last one. But it's like, nah, you just need to write. it's like exercise. Like sometimes you're gonna be a don and great. Sometimes you're gonna feel shit. But it's the fact that you've done the exercise that is what matters. Um, so yeah,
I
just
have to be honest with you. I'm having a bit of a writer's block right now.
really.
Like I have a few ideas. I have a few songs on my, I have like about, I would say 9 or 10 pieces on my laptop, and it's like I'd always have something missing. I just don't know how to address it because I'm not happy with and I'm being dead honest. Like I want to step it up again. I wanna make my pen better. I think I need to work on my pen. I want to say dope shit and say it in a nice way, but then not overthink it either.
Yeah.
And I try to start writing something and I think it's too mundane, or I start writing something and I realize I'm overthinking it. Who's gonna listen to this shit? Like, it's annoying. Like why am I overkilling it with multi rhymes and shit? Like I want to say something, but then I get lost in whatever I want to say. So recently, writing has been really frustrating for me, but the production goes smoothly.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, for me, so the reason why I got into a place where I felt like I needed to understand writer's block, because at first when I was like, so behind the scenes as well, like I do workshops with young people in care or have left care, and just to help them with their creativity. But the start of when I started doing that, I had imposter syndrome, and I was just like, should I really be doing this? Like, like I know I'm good at doing my thing, but I don't really look at myself as a teacher. Like I don't know the method to the madness myself sometimes. Like it just happens to work a lot of the time. And just through that frustration and that worry, I just, yeah, as I said, I've got bare books on trying to understand these creative blocks. And just to say to you, like, bro, if you literally treat it like exercise, or better yet, to make it more simple, if you just show up, that's half the battle. Like,
Yeah.
there's a song on Rebirth of the Phoenix, a project before my last one. How's your day been? How's your day been? I wasn't looking to put any song to do with COVID or any song to do with the period that we're in still on that project. So I was like, oh, this is bait. This is not cool. But what I found fascinating about me just writing, literally, I wrote as if it was a diary. I was like, how's your day been? Same old regime, self-isolated, but I'm still maintaining. I wasn't thinking about cadence or how I was rapping. I was literally just writing how I feel in rhyme form. And I find it fascinating how that's connected to people. They're like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I feel, Whereas there's me thinking like, this is boring. This is not like I don't know, fiery bars. This is just like this boring, mundane, like COVID situation that I just want to get out of. But it's just the relatability of how people relate. It's fascinating. Similar to Day to Day. Day to Day was wrote in that same kind of, fuck it, let me just talk about my day in it and how I want to get into the studio. I didn't think that was that impressive, but the more I talk to like designers and just talk to people about their day to day, they're like, and even you connected to it and made a remix. So
Exactly. I'll tell you what really stood out. I'll tell you what really stood out with that song.
Right,
it was like, so I was listening to all of your songs from that project, and my favorite song-wise, was oh man, it's just how it goes. Vices, exactly. So that was that beat, that how you guys came together on that song. That was my favorite song. But I knew that I could make something nice on Day to Day.
Yeah.
Because when I heard Day to Day, it was like, yo, like a lot of people really go through this. Like, I can totally imagine Mayor coming into the class or a room or whatever, and like people give me like nasty looks because they can hear the drumming in my headphones and shit. It was such an image in my head. And when you started describing how you go through your day to day, it really made me think, like, yeah, like a lot of people, even musicians and people generally go through such basic little things, and it's the little things during the day that make your day or also make you feel a certain way. So Day to Day was definitely something very relatable.
So yeah, that's what I mean. So to go back to my point, because I know I go on tangents all the time. In regards to your writing, if you like literally just show up, and it doesn't matter if you write fucking 3 verses or just one within half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, you're like, you're gonna write from a real place. It might not feel like, oh, this is cold, but you're writing from a real place. And sometimes we don't always know what to digest this, what's in front of us. We might not even understand the emotion, but it's just the fact that if we just treat it as a diary, just write a little something, come back to it in a week's time, it's like, oh shit, that's how I was feeling, and that's really what I was going through. You never know how it's gonna show up and how it's gonna be in the music. So my thing is just treat it like exercise. Even though sometimes you feel shit, you don't want to do it, you just do it. Then you look back at it. If it works, goes on the project. If it doesn't, is what it is. You know what I mean?
I agree.
That's kind of how I treat it. And as you're saying, like don't forget about how like if it comes from a real place, there's always going to be someone who relates to it. Like half of the battle is just maybe about your taste. Like, so for me, although like I write the way I write, my battle would be, yeah, I want to be as visual as Nas. I want to do like Nas Illmatic in my head. But then it got to a point with me where I was just like, you know what? I know my strengths, and when I listen to, when people talk to me about how they relate to me, it's more about my honesty and my rawness. So it's like, all right, cool. I can try and be like Nas, but really, if this over here is coming more naturally, then just roll with it. You know, so
I think that advice for young artists, definitely. I think it made me think, because when I was younger, I would say the first 5 years of my, I would say, music career, I was literally just imitating shit.
yeah,
Like there was nothing that was significant about me in that first few years of my career. I was just trying to sound like Tribe, De La, or whatever. You know, I was just trying to impress with how I rap and how I sound and how I look. But you know, like with the image, dressing, and the videos, and blah blah blah. But I was totally not even focused on saying anything. When I look back at that, I was just like, I would slap young me in the face to be like, yo, say something that you went through. And own it, you know.
Yeah. But that's what we all are, right? Like we're just a sponge. We're a sponge to what we see. And even when I started, if you heard my first rhymes, like it was just cliche, money, hoes, and clothes, to be real. Like like that's what it was. It was like, you know, clubbing. I was talking about my gums. Like that was just where it was. But then, you know, and you mature and you're like, actually, and I think uni helped me a little bit in the sense of like I was very focused on being unique. So I was like, okay, like, you know, I remember hearing a quote like hip hop being the voice of the voiceless, and I was like, all right, cool. If that really is what it is, then why have I never heard from the perspective of someone who's been in my experience in foster care? You know, I've heard Eminem take the piss out of it. Like I've heard a few rhymes here and there, but I've never really heard from someone who's been in that space. You know, I found out later on, Game, Exhibit, you know, a few people have, but I have never really heard it direct, head on. So as soon as I kind of latched onto that idea, I was like, all right, cool, this is my space, and ran with it. But at the same time, it was one of them things where it's like, even Jungle Brown, what I loved about Jungle Brown, it forced me to, like Vices, for instance, and just being around people that haven't necessarily lived the same experience, it forced me to write in ways I wouldn't naturally write. Like I was in a space where I wouldn't naturally write, let's say, to Vices, because that wasn't the space I was trying to channel. But at the same time, even I knew that the sound of Vices was something like I knew that I was like, yo, this could be the future. Like even now,
this is the one. Yeah.
I even now, because I've said this on a few of these IG lives, like the jazz trap sound is still underutilized. Like trap is either all the way turned up, or like boom bap hip hop. But it's like that you know, Mosaic's doing it. You know, Mosaic's doing this thing, but he actually plays the sax, obviously. But and in the UK, there's a rapper called Nux who does that.
Oh yeah,
jazz trap kind of smooth sound. But it's still, I feel it's still underutilized. So like we were doing that 2015, 2016. And I kind of wish like, we had the vision to just like, yo, let's just keep on doing this. But at the same time, the way, you know, like the production was working for us then, it wasn't just Tony Bones. Like Vices actually came from Deluxe. And I don't even think he fully saw the vision, but I knew when I heard the sound, because I was like, yo, guys, this is it. But anyways.
I was listening to a lot of stuff at the time, and it sounded very contemporary. It was like, it was slowed down. It was really wavy. It was the harmonies and like the chords were wide, but you guys were really, you know, like the beat and the beats kept it. This is such a nice, you know, contrast, and like the beat did it for me, and you guys were just so like live to it. You were not dead. You were not foreign. Like everything about how you guys rapped to that song was what did it for me. And then the chorus, that was super catchy. It just felt like a late evening ride through the neighborhood, and like, you know, just feeling different things. Then it was just giving the song.
Yeah, no,
and a lot of people.
So even for me, where, you know, like obviously I'm dabbling in production. I don't know where it's gonna go, but I've been saying to everyone, I'm fully on, like, I love this like jazz trap vibe. So I'm gonna be experimenting with that, because even the stuff that I like right now, like there's a song called Carefree by Mick Jenkins. Do you know Carefree? And like I might even play a little bit now. Carefree. Let's see if I can play it.
There's so many dope artists that just play with jazz and soul and stuff. You know, IDK.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not demanding too much attention. It's just a vibe. She just don't look like this.
If you living carefree, then you probably don't look like us. Damn, nigga, let me cook right quick on the beats. Couple niggas who's cool, and it's just about us. So they never smoke kush like this.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, the vibes, but yeah, but to be honest, like similar to you and your latest project, like fuck it, who knows where the sound's gonna go? Like it might go over to house over here, trap, you know, the old school. Like it is what it is. Like it's just expression. So I'm not even trying to, you know, fit in a bracket. Like I don't really care. Music's music. So we'll see how it goes.
I think that one thing, perhaps that we have in common, but one thing that I can say about my music, and one thing that it's had 10 years ago, and one thing that it tries to have now as well, is there's always some, like, I can do, you know, housey, trappy, or boom bappy, whatever is going to come next. I'm going to hop onto that as well. I'll try, you know, I made a few drill beats the other day just to, like, kind of get the vibe, and then try and do some, like, you know how Central C put a jazz sample on a drill beat?
Yeah.
So, like, it's possible. So one thing that always intrigued me, you know, musically was, like, those chords, like jazz chords, certain progressions that are prevalent in music from the 60s all the way to today.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason I like K. There's a reason I like Kendrick. There's a reason I like Tribe. There's a reason I like Pharrell. There's a reason I like Roy Ayers.
Yeah.
Because they're in the same lineage. So whatever I'll be doing next, however that will be sounding, it'll always have a, you know, a good snappy groove to it. It's gotta make me move, and the melody needs to be deeper than whatever comes to mind first. It has to be, you know, harmonies and chords can always bring up so much more emotion than something that's very straightforward. Sometimes you want to have something straightforward and it's a banger, or you know, it's, you can exactly tell from an Eminem song, oh, this song is angry, this song is sad, this song is this, you know, it's like, and that's not to diss him or anything, but it's like there's a lot of hip hop artists out there who do something obvious, you know. They do some like flex shit. Look at the flick of the wrist. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, you like that too, but it's very, you know, on point. It's very that. But what I like about, for example, what I like about lineage of music, Roy Ayers all the way down to Nuts in the UK right now, is how to use, you know, chords and harmonies over really interesting rhythms to convey a certain emotion that is not just pain, that is not just love, it's a
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, talk about chords. Yeah, I need to even get into that because, like, obviously, there's certain chords that can bring up certain emotions, which I'm not even in that stage yet with my production. But I'll have to get a few tips from you and, yeah, a few YouTube videos on that vibe. All right,
most
Smokey.
interesting chords I find are from the samples, anyways, bro. So it's just listening and trying to find what suits your soul, and then run with it.
Yeah, for sure. What's Let's just get what Smooth Deep saying. Have either of you guys written a line verse that and then only clocked it was influenced by another artist after you finished laying it down? Shall I answer that first?
Either of you guys written a line of verse, they only clocked it was by other artists after you finished or laying it down? I don't know. I think there was one reference. You know, I made a song where I sampled Slick Rick. So on my last album, I go, we ain't got to shit in this city. Everybody think anything city. We just want to party. We just want to party. We don't cost. We don't party.
Yeah.
I sampled his flow, and I referenced him in the sample. You hear Slick Rick just behind my voice as well. So I didn't want to do it in a way that people think that I took it. I wanted to do it in a way that people realize where I got it from. So they.
Yeah, I don't like consciously, as I said earlier, like full time. That was me paying paying homage to Nas, but that was me being inspired by Nas. But I don't, you know. Otherwise, I'm pretty. It's not after the fact. I'm pretty obvious with it. Like, you know, like in Instinctive Travels on my latest project, I've got the UNITY instrumental. I say UNITY at the end, Queen Latifah. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I've done it subconsciously. I always do it with intention.
Yeah.
So
when I do it, I try to do it in a way where I try to give it to people. Like, yo, this is where it comes from. This is it.
yes.
I'm giving it to you now as well because this means to me.
Yes.
So there, you know, for example, I one of the songs on Heat, I I sampled Dipsy Woman, I sampled a Tribe Called Quest, and I sampled I did like a Kate Sonata-ish bass line to it as well with like house chord. So this was just like a mix of things. I put in one beat that I wanted to give to people. Like, this is my world. This is what sounds good to me, and this is what I feel when I hear that. And then I put a topic over it, which was relevant to me for that sound. And but I still made it obvious where it came.
I hear that. Like, going back to Smooth Deep, because I'm just thinking about his question. I think I'm more, when it comes to inspiration, I probably get more inspiration from stuff that I watched, like random podcasts and like random authors talking about their creativity. Like, there's an author, what's her name? Basically, there's an author that what book did she write? I think she wrote I don't even know why I was watching it, to be honest, but she wrote Eat, Pray, Love. You know the film? She wrote that, but she one of her later books talks about creativity, and I loved what she said about what was the line? I forgot the line. Basically, I've got a line in Night Shift where she was like, be childlike, not childish. And she meant in the sense of creativity, she's like, don't think like an adult about it. Don't put pressure on yourself. Like, remember when you was naive, it was bliss as a kid, and you're just being playful. She's like, just be playful with how you because the fact is, when you become an adult, you become less childlike. And I just like obviously the alliteration. I like the way she put the words together. Be childlike, not childish. So I put that in a bar. And generally, I'm a sponge to what I'm hearing in podcasts, whether it's to do with like self-development and So that will always like be peppered in. So even full time, like I think it was Jim Rohn, or maybe it wasn't Jim Rohn. Basically, there's like these, they're not motivational speakers, but like life coaches. You know, like Tony Robbins and people like these guys. Like I always pepper them in the songs because that's the stage I was at in life. I was just like, I was trying to better myself. I was trying to better my mindset. So all of that will be peppered in the music, more so than rappers per se, because yeah, it's a richer source, right? Richer tapestry because it's just everywhere. It's just life.
I think we're just at the stage in our life where we're trying to understand everything as well. It's not fun and games anymore. You've learned the consequences,
Yeah.
and you want to implement that in your life and teach others what you've learned. So I think we're in that kind of stage of our life
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you know, we're still young men, but we've seen some shit right now, and
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
understand that.
Yeah,
You wanna
rapper
know why
influence,
you
it comes at first for sure, but then yeah, after a while you're like, actually, the source has to be just life, life imitating art. Like, you know, whether it's the wifey, whether it's the person I just argued with last night, you know, whatever it is, like it all feeds through.
talking about being childlike. I do have to show you something. I'll just put the light on because it's gotten a bit dark over here. But I have a piece of art in my house, and it's made by a Dutch artist. His name is Corné. This is his artwork,
No, dope.
and basically he stems from a artist group called Cobra, which was Copenhagen, Brussels, Amsterdam, but they turned it into Cobra as like a short name, and it was like a group of artists, and they had like a premise. Basically, whenever you make art, you look at it from a perspective of a child, but you use the skills that you have as an adult.
Boom.
So you make an image, and it's, for example, it's this bird or this person. Everything's kind of flat. Everything's kind of, you know, right there, childlike, but they use the colors and the sense of a grown person. So that just reminded me of that. Sometimes if you can and kind of implement that in your music, where you just feel this happiness as a child when you hear a certain rhythm, just try to hop onto that. Maybe something really creative can happen in the process. Doesn't mean it will, but I think it's a really good idea because there's literally a whole artist movement that was based on that idea.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. That's that's a bar in itself. I might make that a quotable. What else? I wanted to talk about I guess work-life balance, work music balance, work art work balance. Like you tell me your perspective on that. How's it working for you?
No problem, man. I think it's actually a really good topic and an important topic, especially if we have some young people watching right now. Because I'll tell you, I now have a job. I work for Booking.com. I work as a booking agent, stuff like that. And of course, I do music on the side. Then I have a private life. I organize my time, and it's working out. Some days you don't have energy for all of that. Some days you're really thankful because me having this job right now, it really gives me the privilege to live a free life and to make my music without any pressure. I used to have a time in my life when I only did music, and I literally depended on the next gig to gig, project to project.
Yeah.
And I was doing shit that I didn't like, and I was living quite messy. So there's no shame in having a job and doing music. I think it's actually really important that you do have a job that does not drain you, but it's something that you do to get some cash so you can invest it in your music or just to live peacefully and independently. So that's something that I definitely tell youngins or like my young self as well. It's like, I was embarrassed to have a job because I felt like if I had a job now, I'd be a failure. I'd be like, you know, if I had a job and someone saw me do that, I'd be so embarrassed. I'd be like, yo, he thinks I'm not the shit because I have this stupid little job. And, you know, I literally had these thoughts like I'd be embarrassed to have a job. And if I think about, you know, I would go back to my 19-year-old self, slap him in the face and be like, get yourself a part-time job, get a bit of money, learn the value of that, and make your song and make your music in peace.
Yeah. No, I think that's important for, young people to hear that because 100%, the reason why I started doing these lives is because I think I've seen there's a massive stigma about having a job and pursuing your art when there shouldn't be because it's like I've seen people that have almost gone homeless, like are not able to even invest in their art because they have this mentality of like, nah, like I can't work for the man. I need to be doing my thing. It's just like, how can you invest in your thing if you don't work for someone else? Like there has to be a balance. It's not all or nothing. You can do both of them simultaneously. So
how are you gonna have other people working for you one day if you don't know how to work for others?
yeah,
so
exactly. That's a good point.
another thing I would like to add, when you start working early, I would say as young as even before you're 18, and you get into the routine of doing that, when you get to the age of 25 to 30, you will already have good experience as a young man with a lot of energy, and you'll have energy for everything, and you'll have your own money saved up for the things that you really do, and just experiencing the world, traveling, doing all this type of stuff. Traveling really made me a better artist. Going to London, going to other cities, going to concerts, going to festivals. That shit made me a better artist. That shit made me meet people that made me a better artist.
Yeah.
How are you gonna do that?
Yeah, no.
Make money on the stuff and embarrassing about.
It's mega important, but I try and think why, like, I don't know. So, what do you think's breeding that thought that it's like, failure for working for someone else? What? Because I've tried to question this, and I'm just like, why do I feel like so many people are in this rut? Is it social media that's really?
Yeah.
Is that's what perpetuating it? Is it because everyone looks like they're living their best life, and what you see on social media, think it is what it is? Like that person must be just doing what they're showing you on social media. So it's like, yeah, I can do it too, and that YouTuber over there is doing that, and yeah, I could just do that with my phone as well. I don't know what it is, but what do you think? What do you think's creating this culture?
Absolutely. Well, we are the first generation to go through this shit. I think there was a lot of shit that we as a generation were not ready for. We weren't ready for all this vanity, for all this quick, for all this quick excitement, quick dopamine, notifications, quick approval. And generally, when you're insecure, when you're young, when you're coming up, and you start making music, you want approval, you want to be loved, you want this feeling of belonging, you want this feeling of people acknowledging your work or your presence. So whenever you get a really quick taste of that, it's really easy to get hooked. And by the time you realize what's happening to you, whether it's something traumatic or something that gradually happens, you realize a bit late what happened to you, and you're kind of hooked on this way of life. So really, making these steps for yourself that, okay, I can't live like this. Okay, these people are fake. I'm rubbing elbows with people in the industry. I don't even know why. I'm just doing it because I'm out here for the approval and shit. It's like, it's just a downward spiral. I heard a really quote by Lord Finesse. He said, people who are in it for the approval and stay in it for the approval, you're on an endless hamster wheel, because you cannot make everyone happy.
Exactly.
You cannot make it possible. They'll always find something. Oh, he doesn't have good bars. Oh, he doesn't have good flow. Oh, he doesn't rap on good beats. Oh, he made this one good song, but what's up with the album? The only person at the end of the day that you have to make happy is just you, and what buys you peace is definitely focusing on your independence, your circle of people. These are things I recognize all too late, perhaps because of a lack of guidance in my life. But if there's one thing I'll tell young artists always, it's just to be like, you are the only person you have to set criteria for. You have to be able to fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
No,
listen to the important because I went through that phase as well. Like I remember there was a point where it's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna pay for a PR campaign, and obviously I'm getting it to DJs, and I'm kind of like, I'm my happiness is being based on their opinion, and then I got to a point I was just like, I don't even know who this DJ is. Why do I care about like this DJ's opinion? Why is that affecting my happiness? Like at the end of the day, like if I like it, that's what matters, and people are gonna resonate with it. I'm not this one DJ is not gonna change my life. Why am I putting so much of my happiness on this one DJ? But I just had to remind myself, because I just remember I was going in this cycle where I was actually waiting for people's approval about how I feel about my own shit. I was just like, yeah. Fuck that.
I would just like to add one more thing, just to not make it everything just about yourself or just you. Another thing that I find really important is real relationships.
Yeah, of course.
So real friendships. So you have a friend who's a DJ, you really care about it. You'll help people around. And even if you just meet people outside, you know, you meet the DJ once or twice, you catch someone's vibe. If it's natural, you stick to it. You holler at him, you go to this party again. Your relationships matter. You know, you're not just rubbing elbows with people. You're actually trying to find people who are like-minded and who might appreciate you as a person. Then they would understand you as an artist a lot better as well, and perhaps give you good advice or put you on something. A lot of good things that happen to me in my music career is because I have real, honest relationships with people that I like and like me as well.
Yeah.
So, and it's not forced or anything.
I've always appreciated from you from the get-go, bro. Like, when it comes to like feedback, like you've always been honest. Like, you're always very thorough. And yeah, just good vibes. Whereas and even though it might seem natural to you, I've talked to enough people, and bro, I get people are busy, but it's like the honesty of some people is just like, if you don't want to do something, just say you don't want to do it, innit? Like, the amount of people that are just like, yeah, I'll get back to you, or like one word answers, or they're just like people pleasers. I'm just like yeah, you just see through it. Whereas you from the get go, like you've even almost gave us essays when we wanted feedback, but you can tell that you're in it, and you've been honest about just everything. And that's what I've always. I don't put many people in that bracket when it comes to like, all right, let me just send this to a few heads just to get their perspective. But I put you in that bracket because you've been the same from the get go with your honesty. So yeah, man, like honestly, salute to you for just having an honest relationship, and just because I don't know, I just feel like the more I've met people within music, there's a lot of people you have to decipher, and a lot of egos, and it's just like it's just draining. You know what I mean? You just want to speak to some honest people that are just like down and just like cool.
Definitely. But yeah, there's always a few criteria when you meet a person that you also have to match as a personality. I think we can easily, because we like the same things. You know, when it comes to music, we have the same mission when it comes to music. So in that sense, it was easy to build on that. And if you're honest from the get-go, you have a friend. So you know, just to flip it, I really appreciate that from you. We got the same, you know, wavelength. But I would also just advise people that are in music, you know, real relationships are what really matter. You don't need to rub elbows. You just need to reciprocate the energy people are giving you, and easily you will make your relationships that will really build your music career. Because you never know, especially when you're young. You know, when you're 19, 20, those honest relationships, maybe one day, you know, a person can be in a high position and they'll trust you because they know you're honest with them. You know, trust is a very, very important thing when it comes to business in general. And music.
It's beyond music. I was actually speaking to a young person the other day that was talking to me is philosophizing with me about happiness. That was it. What did he say to me? He goes, expectations is the thief of happiness. And I was like, yeah, I love that. And then we started talking about that. And then he goes, it's like, to be honest, he's like, from what I've learned recently, he's like, I think happiness comes from close relationships.
Yeah.
Having genuine close relationships. And as soon as he said it, it just felt intuitive. I was like, yeah, no, of course. And just coming back to what you're saying, that's what it's all about. Which sometimes, because which I forget sometimes, is the music business. especially what I've learned about being with this label, you know, it's not always easy to see, you know, because it's a business at the end of the day, and people like, yeah, might want to pop champagne with you one day, and then when COVID hits, record label, no one's calling you in regards to your well-being. But anyway, we're not going to go into that story, but yeah, just nurturing close relationships, that's the key to life.
You know, just like Skepta said, you know, I don't socialize with no one but the crew and the gang.
Yeah.
I think, you know, Skepta is, you know, if you're into his music or not, I think he's the great, you know, archetype of what it means to be an independent man. You know?
Nah, Skepta's amazing. He's I look at him like,
I think he's a healthy example of what manly is.
Yeah, 100%. Like that, Skepta's been so if I think not directly with lyrics, but energy-wise, kind of resilience and just like, fuck everyone.
Yeah, resilience.
I'm gonna do this. Like Skepta's been a massive inspiration. Massive.
Absolutely, man. Here's a crazy story about Skepta, bro. Skepta performed in Croatia in 2006 in front of like a crowd of like 200 people. Yeah. It was him, it was his brother, it was the Newham Generals, like a whole bunch of grime MCs were here.
Yeah.
And they weren't, nobody knew about them. Shout out to DJ Yesh, by the way. That's a good friend of mine. He's a promoter.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy to imagine that Skepta, the Skepta we know today, performed in Croatia in 2006 for like 100 quid in the plane ticket. You know?
Yeah.
Grind. He was doing his grime shit. And it was like a very small amount of people. And now Skepta is like, I don't know, he's in his mid-30s, late 30s already, but he's still good.
Yeah, but
this guy,
he's in his prime, bro. Like everyone's just waiting for the next project. He's killing it, and just his integrity and the way he stuck to his sound, and like regardless of how people are talking about grime, he was like, I'm gonna own it, and just everything. Like even the That's Not Me campaign and just everything. I'm just like mind blown at just how he's navigated his way. You know what I mean? Especially. Yeah, so 2006. So, like, let's say in the sense of how, like, UK artists are looked at, like, people kind of thought that to be successful, you have to kind of do what Dizzy Rascal done. And I wouldn't say he sold out. Like, the more you hear about his story, like, at the end of the day, he was just growing as an artist and he just wanted to explore different sounds. But, people might have thought, like, he lost a bit of integrity from grime. But the way that, let's say, Skepta's done it, he's just like, he stuck to his style, he stuck to his sound, and even when he's collaborated with A$AP Rocky and everyone else, like he's still that same guy, you know what I mean? And it's been mad inspiring to watch his growth. So G.
Yeah, man. We can end it at that, man. I
was gonna say, what would you say to your younger self, but you incorporated it like about 10 minutes ago.
Absolutely, because I watched one of your shows and I was just like, I think that's a great question. I really hope what we talked about right now is that some younger artists will see it and it's going to resonate with them in the sense that, you know, someone went through what I'm going through right now. And, by the way, Smooth grew up with them and shit.
Oh, Scene, is it? Yeah, he used to be a DJ when till it was about, I don't know what age, but till late, till 16, 18. Like I heard JME talk about that a couple of days ago on a podcast. JME is a fascinating guy as well. Like he seems like he's fully off the radar of social media, with everything. He doesn't give a shit. He's in his own little world. But
you see his interview with that?
Huh?
JME has like a sick interview with Anthony, like a live thing.
Okay, same.
Check it out.
Yeah, I'd like to check it out. Yeah, send me actually. Because I didn't catch the name, send me a link and I'll check it out.
You know Anthony Fantano, right?
Anthony Fantano, okay.
Review guy. He does like video reviews, and just type in JME.
All right, boom. I got that in the link just behind Fantano.
There you go.
Yeah, I see it. All right, sick. Bro, why are you in the dark?
Because I just didn't put the light on, man. It was really nice and sunset. And then like just fucking.
I was just like, what's going on? I was like,
yeah, man. There you go.
All right, boom.
Boom! All this light. Anyways.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, when you're in the music mood, yeah, it might just be setting the mood, like lights are low, so you can get into the creativity. But I was like, when we're talking, what's going on? Why's the lights not on?
I don't know. I was like into the conversation. Didn't put any lights on and shit. I was getting nice sunlight.
Yeah. Anyway, G, like it was sick kicking it with you. Like, yeah, I said like 45 minutes, but yeah, we could have kept on going talking about music. So enjoyed it. And like, yeah, there's
That,
definitely a few gems. I didn't even need to ask you questions directly about, oh, what would you say to your younger self? You just kept on spitting it. So yeah, bro, I'm gonna hopefully this live will save because on a few occasions it's been a bit mad, but I think it's gonna save. I'm gonna do a few like timestamps, I think, put it on YouTube, download it. But yeah, I'll link you to all of that. But yeah, anyway, Tone, it's been a pleasure.
it's been a pleasure for me too, man. Nice catching up with you generally. Thanks for having me on your show. And I just want to add a few more things. So just for the people who'll be taking out, I'm working on new material. I'm gonna have some stuff coming out. And check out Mosaic music as well. Shout out DJ Family, a great friend of mine. I'm trying to get on the radio, so hopefully that will work out as well. And shout out to everyone who's been following my musical journey as well as your musical journey. And I'm sure that at some point we'll cross paths again. Hopefully I'll come back to COVID chills out a little bit. And you guys come to Croatia to perform. That would actually be great.
Yeah, man. It'll happen. It's going to happen.
Definitely.
All right,
Rick.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Take care, homie.
Cool, man.
Peace.